The night was colder than anything the human had ever felt before. The wind cut through the ruined forest like blades of ice. The ground was frozen, the air so sharp that every breath hurt in his chest. He wrapped his thin jacket tighter, but it was useless. This world was not made for humans, and he knew he would not survive the night alone. He searched for shelter, broken trees and jagged rocks standing like silent statues in the darkness. The sky above was full of two strange moons, one glowing blue and the other red. Their light painted the snow with colors that looked both beautiful and terrifying. His boots sank into the soft white ground with every step, and his heart pounded faster with fear. That was when he heard it. A voice, weak but close. He turned quickly, his breath rising like smoke in the frozen air. There, crouched against a fallen log, was a girl, not human. Her skin glowed faintly silver under the moons. Her hair shimmered like threads of frost, and her large eyes, shining with alien light, stared straight into his soul. She looked small and fragile, trembling as if she too was freezing. Her hands clutched a torn blanket that was no warmer than paper. She raised her head and spoke, her voice soft and broken. "Please, let me stay close. The night is killing me. I need warmth." The human froze. He had met aliens before, but never like this. She was young, beautiful, and clearly desperate. But it was not her words that shook him. It was her eyes. They were not like human eyes. They glowed a deep violet color. But behind them he saw something darker. A warning, a message, as if her eyes screamed, "Do not trust me," even as her lips begged, "Help me." He stepped back. His mind battled against itself. He wanted to survive, and sharing warmth could save them both. Yet he could not shake the feeling that this girl was hiding something. Her eyes held secrets he was not ready to face. The wind howled louder, snow rising in swirling storms around them. The girl shivered violently, her breath sharp and shallow. She hugged herself tighter, curling into a ball as if she would break apart any second. The human looked at her and felt his chest tighten. She was dying. If he walked away now, she would not live till morning. Slowly, he crouched near her, not too close. His voice was steady but low. "If I let you close, what are you planning to do? Why do your eyes tell me to run?" She shook her head, her silver hair falling across her face. "My eyes lie. They always have. Please. Believe my words. Not them, I will not harm you." But her eyes never stopped glowing. They did not blink. They did not soften. They were wide and deep, carrying both fear and danger. The human felt his skin crawl as he looked into them. A part of him wanted to flee into the storm. But another part whispered that she was telling the truth. Minutes passed, the night growing colder. His body was already losing feeling. He knew he could not survive without fire or warmth. He had no fire. The only warmth here was her. He sat down beside her. Still tense, his body shook with both cold and fear. She moved slowly as if afraid to scare him. She leaned closer and finally pressed her trembling frame against him. Heat spread quickly between them. Her body was warmer than he expected, almost burning compared to the icy air. He felt his muscles loosen just a little, but his mind stayed sharp. Her breath touched his shoulder, soft and careful. Her hands held the blanket around both of them, as if weaving them into one. The human tried to close his eyes, but he could not. He kept watching hers. Those strange violet lights glowed like fireflies in the dark. They seemed alive, whispering lies or truths he could not understand. She did not speak again, only silence. Only her breathing beside him. Only those alien eyes fixed on him like they were reading his soul. The storm outside raged through the night, but inside the small circle of their shared warmth, time slowed. He wondered if he had made a mistake. He wondered if he would wake up at all when the sun rose. Her words had begged him to trust her, but her eyes promised danger. That war between sight and sound burned in his mind as sleep finally pulled him into darkness. And in that silence, he realized one truth. This night was not only about survival, it was the beginning of something far more dangerous. The human woke with a start. His body was stiff from the cold, yet alive. For a moment, he thought maybe the storm had ended, but then he realized what had truly kept him breathing through the night. It was her. The alien girl pressed against his side, her small frame wrapped in the torn blanket, her warmth still clinging to him. But it was not her closeness that shook him awake. It was her eyes, in the pale glow of the twin moons. They still shone like lanterns, wide open, unblinking. They had not closed once, not even while she lay still as if asleep. They followed his every move, calm yet filled with something he could not name. He sat up quickly, the blanket sliding from his shoulders. His breath came out fast. "Were you watching me the whole night?" he whispered. Her lips curved into the faintest smile, fragile and tired. "I had to. You do not understand. If I close my eyes, the darkness wins." Her words made no sense, yet the tone of her voice carried fear, real fear. He wanted to ask her what she meant, but the look in her glowing eyes stopped him. It was like staring into fire, warm but dangerous, inviting but untouchable. They carried a silent warning that his mind could not ignore. The forest around them was still drowned in silence. No animals, no birds, only the endless whisper of the wind brushing over snow and stone. He rubbed his hands together for warmth, his skin pale and numb. "If your eyes are cursed like you said, then why do they feel like they're lying to me?" he asked. She lowered her head, her silver hair falling over her shoulders. "Because they show only what others fear, not what I feel." He frowned. "Then what do you feel now?" She hesitated, her hands clenching around the thin blanket. Finally, her voice broke softly. "I feel safe. Safe beside you." Those words pulled at his chest. They were simple, but her eyes betrayed them again. Her glowing stare was sharp, almost threatening. Her pupils tightened as if she was about to attack. Yet her trembling hands, her uneven breath, and the desperate way she leaned toward him spoke of a soul begging for kindness. He turned his face away, staring at the frozen horizon. The red moon was setting, leaving only the blue one shining above. Its glow stretched shadows across the snow, making everything look alive and dangerous. His heart beat faster. Was she dangerous? Was he a fool to sit here with her? The girl shifted closer. Her breath touched the side of his neck. "I know what my eyes say, but listen to me. I do not want to hurt you. I only want to stay alive, please. Let me stay near you a little longer." Her voice cracked like a child begging in the dark. He could not answer. He only looked at her again, and what he saw made him shiver. Her eyes were not just glowing. They were watching, always watching, even when she blinked for a second. It was as if they never truly closed. The light inside them seemed alive, whispering secrets in a language he could not understand. Suddenly, a sound broke the silence, a distant crack, like something stepping on frozen wood. His head snapped around, scanning the trees. The girl pressed her hand against his arm, her grip firm but trembling. "Do not move," she whispered. Her eyes widened. Glowing brighter for the first time, they looked less like a warning and more like a shield. The human froze. His instincts screamed to run, but her grip held him still. More cracks followed, footsteps crunching through snow. Whoever or whatever it was coming closer. His breath caught in his throat. The girl leaned near his ear, her voice shaking. "If they find me, they will kill us both. You must trust me." He wanted to believe her words, but her eyes said the opposite. They looked like they were hiding betrayal. They looked like they had already decided his fate. The footsteps stopped. Silence returned, heavy and sharp. Then just as suddenly the sound faded away. The forest swallowed it again. The human let out a slow breath he didn't realize he was holding. The girl's grip loosened, but her eyes still glowed fiercely. He turned to her, whispering harshly, "Who are you running from? Tell me the truth." She did not answer right away. Her lips trembled as she whispered, "Not now. Please. Not yet." Her eyes, however, screamed something else entirely. They looked at him as if saying, "You should never have trusted me." The human felt the storm inside his chest grow stronger. He had saved her from freezing, and she had kept him alive through the night. Yet every second he looked at her, he saw only danger. The girl pressed her forehead against his shoulder, her voice a soft plea. "Just stay beside me, even if my eyes frighten you. I cannot survive without you." The cold wind swept through the forest again, but the human barely felt it. His mind was trapped between her words and her gaze. If she was lying, he would pay with his life. If she was telling the truth, then he was already part of something far bigger and darker than he had imagined. And as the moon shifted higher into the sky, one thought burned in him like fire. Her eyes were not just windows to her soul, they were keys to a secret he was not ready to unlock. The morning came slowly. The frozen forest was still silent, but the light of the rising sun spilled across the snow, painting the world with pale gold. The human sat against the log, his body stiff from cold but alive. He turned his head to look at the alien girl beside him. Her eyes still glowed faintly in the daylight, less fierce than before but just as mysterious. For the first time since he met her, she looked weaker. Her skin was pale, her lips dry. She tried to push herself up, but her hands shook, and she collapsed back down. The human frowned. "You're hurt, aren't you?" he whispered. She shook her head quickly. "No, I'm fine, please don't ask, just let it go." But he had seen the way her body moved, the way she winced when she shifted. She was hiding something. He leaned closer, trying to look past the blanket she held tightly around herself. She turned away, clutching the torn fabric like it was armor. "Don't," she said softly. "If you see, you won't want me near you anymore." Her words struck him harder than the wind. What was she hiding that made her so desperate? He felt anger rising in his chest, but it wasn't anger at her. It was at the secrets, the half-truths, the danger in her eyes. "If I can't trust you, then why should I stay with you?" he asked. His voice was sharp, harsher than he meant. The girl flinched. Her glowing eyes filled with something between sorrow and fear. She looked at him for a long moment, then sighed as if her strength finally broke. Slowly, with trembling hands, she pulled the blanket down from her shoulder. The human's breath caught. A long, black wound stretched across her side. Not like any normal cut, it was deep, raw, and glowing faintly with a sickly green light. The edges looked burned as if acid or fire had seared into her flesh. The skin around it was cracked like broken glass. Pulsing faintly, it was not healing, it was alive. He felt his stomach twist. The wound was unnatural. It was not something any normal weapon could cause. She quickly pulled the blanket back up, her eyes flashing with shame. "Now you see," she whispered. "Now you know why they are hunting me." The human leaned back, his heart racing. "What is that? What happened to you?" She shook her head again, tears forming at the edge of her glowing eyes. "I can't tell you. If I speak it, you will leave me, or worse, you will try to kill me. Just know, it burns every day and it never stops." Her voice trembled like broken glass. For the first time he believed her pain. Her body shook as she tried to stand. But her legs buckled. He rushed forward, catching her before she fell. Her skin burned hot beneath his hands, hotter than any fever he had ever felt. She gasped, clutching his shirt. "Please don't let me go." "Not yet." He lowered her gently back down. His mind swirled with questions. Why would she hide such a wound? What kind of creature or weapon could do this? And if others were after her, what did they want? Her life or the secret in her body? She closed her eyes for a moment, her breathing ragged, her violet glow dimmed, but still did not fade. He stared at her face. She looked fragile, almost childlike, yet her eyes carried endless storms. He wanted to run. He wanted to leave her here and save himself, but he couldn't. Something about her voice, her weakness, her desperate need kept pulling him back. The silence stretched between them until finally she whispered, "When I asked to sleep close to you, it wasn't only for warmth, it was because of this wound. When I'm alone, it grows worse, but when someone stays near me, when I feel their life touching mine, it eases just enough to keep me alive." The human's chest tightened. So it wasn't only about cold, it wasn't only about fear. She needed him, literally. He felt both pity and terror. If what she said was true, then her life now depended on his presence. He looked away, Staring into the distance where the forest stretched endlessly, he had a choice. He could walk away and be free of her secrets, or he could stay and carry the burden of her survival. Every instinct told him this girl was dangerous, but every part of his heart told him she was dying, and he could not abandon her. The girl's voice broke through his thoughts, soft and pleading. I don't know how long I have left if you leave. I will not see another sunrise, please. Don't let me die alone. Her words pierced him deeper than any weapon could. He clenched his fists. Looking back at her eyes, they still glowed, still sent the same warning, still told him not to trust her. Yet everything else, her trembling body, her broken voice, her cursed wound, begged for compassion. He sighed deeply, his breath rising in the cold air. I should walk away, he muttered, but I can't. Not when you look at me like that. The girl's lips trembled, but a tear slipped down her cheek. She whispered, Thank you, and leaned her head against his arm. Her eyes still glowed, still told him lies, but for the first time, he felt her truth in the weight of her body resting on his. As the cold wind swept across the empty forest, he realized something terrifying. This was no longer about survival. This was a bond, fragile, cursed, and dangerous. A bond that could either save them both or destroy him completely. The day passed slowly. The frozen forest never warmed. Even under the pale sun, the human and the alien girl walked together, their footprints trailing behind them in the endless snow. She leaned on him more than once, her body weak, her wound hidden under the blanket. Still, her glowing violet eyes never left him. Watching, questioning, warning, they found a place to rest near a ring of broken stones, ruins of something ancient. The air felt heavier here, but at least it shielded them from the sharp wind. The human gathered wood and lit a small fire, its flickering flames casting long shadows across the ground. For a moment he felt a little safer, but her presence always kept his heart restless. She sat across from him, her arms wrapped tight around her knees. The firelight danced in her eyes, making them glow even brighter. He stared back at her, and the same unease returned. Her lips said nothing, but her eyes whispered endlessly, Do not trust me. Finally, he broke the silence. You've been hiding too much. If I'm risking my life staying with you, I deserve the truth. His voice was firm, almost angry. The girl lowered her gaze. Her hands trembled. Her voice came out soft. You don't know what I've done. If you did, you would leave me here. He leaned forward. Tell me. She hesitated for a long moment. The fire crackled, the wind whistled through the ruins. At last she whispered, I betrayed my own kind. The human froze. His heart skipped a beat. Betrayed them, he repeated slowly. What does that mean? She raised her head, and her eyes burned with guilt. I gave them up, my people. I revealed secrets that no outsider should know. I destroyed lives. I thought I was saving someone. But instead I brought death, and now everyone hunts me, not only my enemies, but my own blood too. Her words fell heavy between them. The human's chest tightened. His mind spun with questions. If she betrayed her people once, what stopped her from betraying him next? The girl saw the change in his face. She leaned closer, her voice shaking. I know what you're thinking. I know what my eyes tell you. But please believe me, I would never betray you. Not you. He looked away, his fists clenched. Why should I believe that? He asked. If you betrayed the ones who trusted you, then why am I different? Her lips parted, but no words came. She looked broken. Her glowing eyes shone brighter, almost desperate. Because you stayed. No one else would, but you did. She whispered finally. The human's chest ached. He wanted to believe her, but the fear was too strong. The fire popped, sending sparks into the air. Her eyes reflected them like shards of glass. He thought of the wound hidden under her blanket, the strangers searching for her, the strange danger she carried. He sighed and shook his head. If what you say is true, then I'm already in danger just by sitting here with you. She crawled closer, her voice trembling. Yes, you are, but I don't want to be alone, please. Don't leave me, even if my past is full of betrayal. I need someone who won't run from me now. Her words tore at him, but her eyes tore harder. He stared into them, and again they whispered their silent warning. She will betray you. They glowed with a truth he could not ignore, and yet her broken body, her wounded soul, and her soft, trembling hands begged for trust. The human pressed a hand to his forehead. He felt trapped, his heart pulled one way, his mind the other. He finally muttered, You're asking me to risk everything for someone who can't even tell me the whole truth. The girl flinched. Her tears glimmered in the firelight. She reached for his hand but stopped halfway. Afraid, I can't undo what I did. I can only try to live another day. If you walk away now, I won't survive, and maybe I deserve that. But I still hope you'll stay. The silence stretched, only the fire filling the empty air. The human's breathing grew heavy. His thoughts battled inside him. If he trusted her, he could lose everything. If he left her, she would die. Her eyes locked onto his, glowing brighter than the fire itself. And in their light he saw something new. Not only warning, not only lies, but also pain so deep it almost looked like truth. He whispered to himself, maybe she's telling me everything I need to know without saying it. Maybe her eyes are not lies. Maybe they're confessions. The girl leaned closer, her forehead almost touching his, her voice cracked. I'm not asking you to forgive me, only to stay. Just for tonight. The human closed his eyes for a moment. His chest rose and fell with the weight of his choice, and though his heart screamed at him to run, he stayed by the fire beside her, listening to the whispers of betrayal that her eyes refused to hide. And as the flames flickered lower, he realized one thing. Sometimes trust was not about truth, but about deciding who was worth risking the lie. The fire had burned low when the first sign of danger appeared. The human was staring at the fading flames when the girl suddenly stiffened. Her glowing violet eyes widened. Her body tensed. She whispered only 2 words. They're here. The human turned quickly. His heart hammered in his chest. At first, the forest looked empty, silent, but then he saw them. Shapes moving through the snow. Dark shadows between the trees, at least 4 of them tall and armed. Their footsteps crunched on the frozen ground. Closing in on the ruins, the girl's hand gripped his arm tightly. Her body shook. Please, you must not let them take me, she begged. Her voice cracked with terror, but her eyes, glowing like burning coals, seemed to scream a different truth. They seemed to say, run before it's too late. The strangers stepped into the firelight. Their faces were hidden under cold masks of metal. Their voices low and rough. There she is, one of them said, pointing straight at the girl. Don't let her escape again. The human stood quickly. His fist clenched though he had no weapon. Who are you? He demanded, his voice echoed in the frozen ruins. One of the masked strangers took a step forward. She is carrying something dangerous, he said coldly. Hand her over, human, and we will let you live. The human's chest tightened. He looked back at the girl, her lips trembled. Her body leaned against him for support. Don't listen to them, she whispered. They want what's inside me. If they get it, more will die. You must trust me. But her eyes glared at him with the same warning they always held. They said the opposite. They told him, do not trust her. Confusion twisted inside him. He turned back to the strangers. What is she carrying? He asked. His voice shook with fear. The leader of the group raised a hand. His words were sharp. She has a core, a weapon, something stolen. If she keeps it, it will kill her. And maybe everyone around her. She is a danger to you, to us, to all. The human's blood turned cold. He looked at the girl again. Is this true? He whispered. She shook her head wildly, tears streaming down her cheeks. No, I didn't steal it. I didn't want it. It was forced into me. I'm not a thief. I'm a prisoner. Her voice carried desperation, pain, truth, or lies he could not tell. But her glowing eyes locked onto his, burning, begging, hiding. He felt as if he was staring into a storm with no end. The strangers began to step closer, weapons raised. Move aside, the leader ordered. She belongs to us. The girl cried out. Gripping the human's hand, her words came in broken whispers. Please don't let them take me. If they do, I'm dead. You're the only one who stayed, please. Please. The human's breath came fast. His heart battled with his mind. The stranger's words made sense. They sounded like soldiers on a mission. But the girl's trembling body pressed against him, her wound hidden under the blanket. Her tears soaking into the snow. They told a different story, and yet her eyes, those cursed eyes, they never stopped warning him. They told him to turn away. They told him to leave her. The silence grew heavy. Only the fire popped softly between them. The strangers raised their weapons higher. The girl clung to him like a child. If you let me go, you'll regret it forever, she whispered. Her voice cracked with despair. The human shut his eyes for a moment. His breath shook in the freezing air. Then, with a sudden burst of resolve, he stepped in front of her, blocking the strangers. His voice was steady. If you want her, you'll have to go through me. The masked leader paused. The others lowered their weapons slightly. "You fool," the leader spat. "She will kill you. Maybe not today, but one day her curse is death. You've chosen wrong." The human's jaw tightened. He looked back at the girl for only a second. Her eyes glowed like fire in the snow, and though they still whispered betrayal, her trembling lips formed one broken word. "Why?" he answered softly. "Because if I don't trust you now, then no one ever will," the strangers growled in anger. Their footsteps scraped the snow as they stepped back. "This isn't over," the leader said coldly. "She belongs to us and we will return." Then, like shadows, they vanished into the forest, leaving only the cold silence behind. The girl collapsed against him, her breath uneven, her tears hot against his arm. "You don't know what you've done," she whispered. Her voice shook with both relief and dread. "They will never stop hunting me, and now they will hunt you too." The human placed a hand on her shoulder, his voice low but steady. "Then we run together." Her eyes lifted to his, glowing with both warning and something softer. For the first time he saw not only betrayal, not only fear, but also the smallest spark of hope, and that spark, fragile as it was, burned brighter in his heart than all the warnings her cursed eyes could ever give. The snow fell heavier that night. The fire was gone, the ruins felt colder than ever. The human sat with his back against the broken stone wall. The alien girl curled beside him under the thin blanket. Her body trembled with exhaustion, her wound burning beneath the fabric. But it was her eyes that unsettled him the most. They glowed in the dark, violet flames staring into his soul. They had warned him since the first night, "Don't trust me." And yet he had chosen to stand between her and the strangers. Now he wondered if he had made the greatest mistake of his life. The girl spoke softly, her voice fragile. "You shouldn't have done that. They will come again, stronger. And they will kill you just to take me." The human looked down at her. His jaw was tight, "Maybe, but I couldn't hand you over. Not when you begged me like that." Her lips quivered. She leaned closer, her breath warm against his arm. "You're a fool," she whispered. "A kind fool." For a moment silence filled the night. Only the sound of the wind and her trembling breaths. But inside the human's mind a storm raged. Every part of his logic screamed that he should leave her here. She was dangerous, cursed, hunted, and yet another part of him, stronger, refused. It was the part that remembered her shivering in the cold, her whispered pleas, her fragile voice asking not to die alone. The girl shifted, lifting her face to him. "You don't understand," she said. "If you stay with me, you'll lose everything. Your freedom, maybe your life. I'm not worth that price." The human stared into her glowing eyes. "That's not my decision anymore. You asked me to stay, and I chose to. Even if it destroys me." Her eyes widened slightly, a flicker of shock passing through them. But then she shook her head. "You don't know what's inside me. You don't know the curse. The core they spoke of, it's true, it's real. And it's killing me from within." His heart froze. "Then why didn't you tell me earlier?" he asked sharply. Her voice cracked. "Because I was afraid. Everyone who learns the truth leaves me. Everyone runs, I thought. Maybe you would too." Her glowing eyes met his again, desperate. "But you stayed," she whispered. "Even when you shouldn't have." The human's chest tightened. He wanted to look away, but couldn't. Those cursed eyes were traps, warnings and confessions all at once. He muttered, "Maybe I should be afraid, maybe I should run. But I can't." The girl's hands clutched his sleeve. "Then you've already chosen. You've chosen me." He didn't answer. His heart thundered in his chest. The choice he had made was madness. He had chosen to stand with someone who might kill him, someone carrying a living weapon inside her body, someone whose own people wanted her dead, and yet he couldn't deny the truth. He had chosen her. The wind roared around them. The world outside the ruins was cruel and endless. But in this small space it felt as if the universe had paused, holding its breath to see what they would do next. The girl whispered again, her voice breaking. "If you stay with me, you'll never know peace. You'll live hunted, hated, maybe even betrayed. Are you ready for that?" The human closed his eyes. He thought of his old life, of the safety he once had, of the loneliness he carried before this strange meeting. Then he thought of her, dying in the cold, begging to stay close, glowing eyes screaming one thing while her trembling body whispered another. He opened his eyes, his voice was steady. "I already made my choice." Her lips parted in shock. A tear rolled down her cheek. Her eyes glowed brighter. but this time they seemed softer. Almost pleading, "Why?" she whispered. "Why would you risk everything for me?" He leaned closer. His breath formed smoke in the freezing air. "Because if I leave you, then your eyes win. And I don't want to believe in fear, I want to believe in you." The girl gasped softly. Her hands covered her face for a moment. She shook with quiet sobs. Her tears slipped through her fingers. Glowing faintly under the moonlight, finally she looked at him again. And for the first time her eyes didn't look like lies. They looked like the truth, broken. Painful, but truth. The night stretched on. The snow buried their footprints. The silence was endless, yet inside the ruins, two souls sat closer than ever, tied together not by trust alone, but by a choice that defied reason. The human knew tomorrow would bring danger. The strangers would return stronger and angrier, and the cursed secret inside her could destroy them both. But for now he had made his choice. He would not leave, he would not run. And as her head rested gently on his shoulder, her glowing eyes still open, still watching, he realized something terrifying and beautiful at the same time. Sometimes the most dangerous choice was also the only one worth making. The night felt endless. The storm outside raged with wild fury, snowflakes slamming against the broken ruins. The human sat still, the alien girl resting against his shoulder. Her breathing was uneven, her body trembling. The faint glow of her violet eyes lit the darkness like dying embers. He thought back to everything. The cold night when she begged to sleep close. The wound she hid. The strangers who hunted her. The endless warnings in her eyes every moment had led him here. To this one truth he had chosen her, but he did not yet know if that choice would save him or destroy him. The girl stirred. Her voice came out as a broken whisper. "I can't hide it anymore. You deserve to know the truth." His chest tightened. He braced himself, his heart pounded louder than the storm. "Tell me," he said quietly. She lifted her face, her glowing eyes fixed on his, shining like fire through tears. "My curse. It isn't just in my wound, it's in my eyes. They were made to betray me. They were designed to show lies instead of truth. Even when I love, even when I beg, they tell others the opposite. They show fear, they show betrayal, but never what I truly feel." The human froze. His blood chilled. "Made," he repeated. "What do you mean, made?" She shook her head, her voice trembling. "My people, they punished me. They put this curse on me because I defied them. Because I refused to obey. I was meant to be an example, to live as a warning. Anyone who looked into my eyes would see only danger. They wanted me hated. They wanted me alone." Her words struck him like knives. He remembered every moment, how her eyes begged him to leave while her voice pleaded for him to stay, how her gaze screamed betrayal while her body trembled in fear. He understood now her eyes had never lied. They had been forced to. Tears burned at the edges of her glowing eyes. "I thought no one could ever see past them. I thought no one would ever hear my truth, but you. You stayed." The human's chest ached. His throat tightened. He wanted to say something, but his words caught in the storm of emotion inside him. He reached out slowly, his hand brushing against hers. Her skin was warm, almost burning, but her fingers curled around his like fragile threads holding on to life itself. The ruins shook as the wind howled louder. In the distance, faint lights flickered through the snow. The strangers had returned. He knew they were coming, stronger, angrier, ready to take her by force. The girl saw it too. Her body stiffened. "They won't stop," she whispered. "They'll take me and they'll kill you. You should leave now. Save yourself." But he shook his head firmly. "No, I won't." His voice was steady. His choice was made. If they come for you, they come for me too. Her glowing eyes widened. Her lips trembled. "Why?" she whispered again. "Why would you throw away your life for me?" His answer was simple, his voice low but unshaking. "Because even if your eyes are cursed, your heart isn't. And I trust your heart," she gasped softly. Tears spilled down her cheeks, glowing faintly as they fell into the snow. For the first time since he met her, her eyes changed. The glow softened, dimmer, gentler, and for a fleeting moment, he thought he saw her truth reflected in them: fear, pain, hope, and something deeper. The stranger's footsteps grew louder. Their voices echoed through the storm. "Hand her over, human. This is your last chance." The human stood tall, pulling the girl to her feet beside him. She was weak, trembling, but her hand gripped his tightly. Together they faced the darkness beyond the ruins. The storm roared. The strangers appeared again. Weapons in hand, the leader shouted, "She is cursed, she will destroy you. Stand aside or die with her." The human's heart pounded. He felt the weight of his choice heavier than ever, but he did not move. His body stood firm. His voice cut through the storm. "If you want her, you'll have to go through me." The girl looked at him, her glowing eyes wide with shock. Her lips parted, and for the first time no warning echoed from her gaze. For the first time her eyes told the truth. And the truth was love. The storm swallowed their words. The world seemed to vanish around them, only two souls standing together against the darkness. The human knew he might die, but he had no regret. He had found truth in her eyes, no matter how cursed they were, and in that moment, as the strangers charged through the snow, he realized something eternal. Sometimes the greatest truth was hidden inside the deepest lie, and sometimes the most dangerous eyes in the universe only wanted to be seen for what they really were.